Hi everybody, it's Laura from Green Tree with your first video of 2018. This one's going to be kind of a short one today, but we are talking about resolutions. A lot of people like to make New Year's resolutions, and statistically, all the studies that I could find, it's something barely over 10% of people actually manage to keep to those resolutions beyond March. So nearly 90% of people are dropping their resolutions within 3 months of making them. So I'm hoping that some of the little tips that I can give you today will help you to stick with those throughout the whole year, or if they're shorter term, to be more successful at them than you might be otherwise. So I'm going to give you some general things first. One of the biggest things that people make a mistake with is you actually want to make a goal that's realistic. You want to start small. Don't start with, I want to lose 200 pounds. I want to tour the world with my rock band. I want to be the happiest person on earth. When you start with something so big like that, you're rarely going to achieve your goal because it's just going to seem really daunting, and it's going to be hard to make a plan that will actually get you where you want to go. In addition to being realistic, it's also a really good idea, like I said, to start small. So if your goal is to lose weight, for example, you might want to start by cutting down on a snack that you habitually eat, or cut down on an occasion where you usually would have sugar and remove that from your diet. So little baby steps. Big help in terms of actually sticking with your resolutions. Second tip, talk about it. Tell people what your resolution is. The more people know what you're trying to do, the more accountable you'll be, both internally to yourself and to your community. For example, I don't normally make my resolutions starting in January, but I'm doing Man vs. Mountain in February, and so my resolution is to train for that every day, starting yesterday on the 1st all the way up through the 31st. So I'm telling all of you guys that in order to help me be more effective and stay on top of that. I also have family members who can kind of see what my progress is, and that's a really good way to stay on top of your resolutions, is to actually write them down, say them out loud to people, and record your progress. So I know, looking at a week's worth, okay, I actually did this 6 days out of the week, or I can look at the week and say, oh, I actually only did this 3. I mean, my goal is 7, and I think I'll probably stick to it, but I'll see when I missed it if I look at my little list. So recording is a really good way to keep your resolutions. I also suggest start with 30 days. If you can do something 30 days in a row, it's going to start to become a habit, to the point that even after those 30 days, you're probably going to continue to do it at least sporadically. So let's say you want to floss, for example. 2018, your goal is to floss. Go ahead, give yourself a little calendar, just a one-sheet calendar, stick it up in the bathroom, and floss every day for 30 days. Say that's your goal. At the end of that 30 days, you're going to be in such a habit of flossing that you're probably going to be able to keep doing it. But it's a less daunting chunk of time, and it's easy to track, so you can see your progress fairly quickly, unlike thinking far ahead to the end of the year. And then the other suggestion that I actually have, and this is what I usually do when I don't have something time sensitive, is I start in February. That means you've got all of January to figure out what your goal is, to plan the steps that will get you there, and to eat all of those holiday leftovers and snacks that are still hanging around. I don't know about you, but I have a lot of chocolate. And for me to say that it's a lot of chocolate, it's a lot of chocolate. So when I get to the beginning of February, that's going to be gone. I'm going to have had a whole month to plan out what else I want to do with this year, lay out my goals, figure out my tracking, and set that up in a way that I'm going to be way more successful than if I try to start, yesterday, because I know that comes up for a lot of people. The more time you have to plan it, the more likely you are to stick with it. And then really quickly, some of the most common goals that people have are to lose weight or exercise or eat healthier, kind of all in one chunk, to get organized, to sleep better, and to be happier. So I'm going to give you a couple of small goals that you could use to help you reach one of those bigger goals. For example, lose weight and eat healthier. Personally, I feel like if you can tackle eat healthier, you're going to feel better overall regardless of what your weight is. So I would tackle that part first. The easiest thing to do is to set up a small goal like I will add an extra vegetable to X number of meals. Maybe it's every meal of the day. Maybe it's at lunchtime I will add more vegetables. Maybe at dinner you want to add 2, but something simple like that. I would also suggest sugar. Less sugar, more vegetables, and you're going to be in a really good direction. You might want to get specific about that so you can track it, but as a kind of a general idea, that might be easier than making a huge all-at-once dietary shift, like say going from 3 times a day fast food to raw, whole food, vegan every day. So little baby steps to improve on what you're doing. You can always add new things next month. So let's say you make it through every day in January, adding those extra vegetables. Well, maybe in February you want to cut out those peanut butter cups that you have at lunch. I'm not going to, but you can. So that would be my suggestion for that. Small little increments that you can improve on over time. So you're going to be a lot more successful, and it's going to become more of a lifestyle than a simple one-off resolution that most of us will fail on by March. Getting organized. So this is actually a tip that somebody who shops here, one of our co-op owners, gave me that I think is really approachable if you're somebody who has a lot of stuff and a lot of disorganization. I can be one of those people sometimes. But what she suggested to me was getting rid of 10 items every day, whether that's shredding 10 random pieces of paper, whether it's pulling a few items out of your closet and something out of your kitchen, something out of your living room. But 10 items every day until you get to a point where you feel like your space is more manageable and organized. I will say personally, I tend to kind of pile those up sometimes. Sometimes it's nothing for a couple of days and then a whole bunch of things at once. But that's a really easy way that you can go about making a dent in a mess that feels more manageable. So 10 things a day until your space starts to look the way you want it to. Exercise more. This is another one where increments are really important. You can't go from 0 to 60 in 10 seconds. We're not all, what's a Lamborghini? Something fast. I'm not very good at cars. But little things one at a time that you can add to is really the way to go. So let's say you don't exercise at all. There's 0 physical activity in your daily routine. Maybe start by adding 5 minutes. 5 minutes of stretching or jogging in place or going up and down the stairs, whatever works for you and your current level of health. And if you can keep up 5 minutes a day for a month, go ahead and up it to 10 minutes, or maybe 10 minutes 3 times a week, and the other 4 you still do 5 minutes. Just go up from where you are. If you're already at, a half hour of exercise multiple times a week, something like that, then you can go ahead and set the bar a little higher. But if you try to go from that 0 to 60, you're probably not going to get anywhere. So try to go from 0 to 5, and then if you get there, go from 5 to 10. That's my suggestion for exercise. It's worked really well for me over the years. It's just improved and improved and improved because I've made it more and more of a habit. Increments are the way to go. And then finally, be happier. A lot of people make the resolution to be happier in the next year. And that's a hard one to tackle because it's so amorphous. There's no bar that tells you, oh, I've reached my happiness quotient. So the thing that I would really suggest is sit down and make a list of the things that you actually really enjoy doing. It can be little things like talking to your mom, cooking dinner, walking in the park. Make a list of those things that really work for you and that you enjoy. And then actually schedule time for those. And then the next time you're sitting there, scrolling through Facebook on your phone, I know a lot of us do that. Say, oh wait, I have scheduled for today that I'm going to go to the park, or it says on here today that I want to make dinner, or I want to go to a yoga class, and then you'll go and do it. If you make it part of your schedule, the way that you schedule the things you don't want to do, you're much more likely to do it than if it feels like some indulgence or something that you can push off to the side. So go ahead, look forward at your year and say, these are the things that I know I want to do. This is when I'm going to do them, and make that a priority. You're never going to get around to the fun stuff if you don't actually schedule it in. It's too easy to get distracted the way that all of our screens are nowadays and the way that things are so busy all the time. So schedule things that you enjoy, and that will help you be happier. Those are my resolution suggestions that I've got for you guys. If you want to share your resolutions in the comments to jump in on that first suggestion of accountability and talking to people about what you want to do, go for it. We're all pretty fun and supportive here, I think, and everybody will be willing to jump in and say, go you can do this. I hope you guys are all having a fabulous Tuesday and a great start to 2018. Bye.